Hi guys, in this video I wanted to show you different kind of tips and tricks regarding the Vlookup formula. It's one of the most used formulas in Excel, and sometimes we run into trouble and we don't know why isn't it working. So I want first of all to explain how it works, and then we will look at some of the problems that we might have and how we can recover from it. So here I have a table with some references and, well, designation, quantity, price, total amount, and we have a category that is empty. And what we want to do is to look for these references into this new table. Well, this table can be anywhere in your worksheet. I'm just putting it close to this one just so we have a clean visual. So here we have the reference, and then we have the category and the brand. It can be anything else, so just an example and to show you how you do it, and you might have been facing this type of problems before. So here let me just start to write Vlookup. Okay, so how Vlookup works, we'll explain it by an example. We want to look up this reference number. So always the lookup value in a table, because usually we use VLOOKUPs in tables like this, the lookup value is on the same row. It's not, sometimes I saw some people look up and click somewhere here. The lookup value is the one that you want to look up. It's on the same row of the table you are putting the formula in. So here we put A6, comma, and then it asks for a table array. So Excel is actually telling you, okay, you want me to look up this value, where do you want me to look? So we need to look into this matrix. So we click and drag to select the whole matrix, this table array, sorry. And just another thing to remember, Excel will look up this value in this matrix, okay, but where will he be looking? He will always be looking in the first column. So your lookup value should be in the first column of the matrix you just selected, first column, not the second, not the third, first one. Principle. Then what he asks you is the column index number. What do you want me to retrieve? Here we want the category. So how can we tell Excel, when you find whatever we are looking for in this first column, please give me back the category? So this is where the column index number is important. How do we count it? You start with the first column. You said 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we need the fourth column of the matrix, not the table, just the matrix. So we put a 4, another comma. Then, do you want an approximate match or an exact match? 99% of the time we will use exact match. The approximate match, just to quickly to tell you how it works, it's more useful with the numbers. I mean, for example, if you have grades and you have here a bunch of grades of people, 15, 20, 25, etc., and here you have on the table that you are looking into, you have a scoring depending on the grade. For example, from 10 to 40 it's A grade, from 40 to 60 is B grade, and then you have 25. So he won't find the 25, but he will look at the closest match and then retrieve whatever column number we give. So this is how it works, but mainly when you use this, we want the exact match. So here we put everything as we said, and we still have an error. How come? And how can we how can we correct this error? So why is it happening? It's because this reference number is stored as text, number stored as text, but these ones are stored as numbers. As you can see, text is always aligned to the left and the numbers aligned to the right. Okay, so we can't compare apples with carrots. We need either to transform this to numbers to compare numbers with numbers, or transform this to text to compare text with text. How we do that? So let's there's different formula, different things we can do. I'm just going to show you, because normally we have text against text. There isn't a lot of problems we run into. Mostly it's when we have this kind of numbers, and what I usually do, I convert them to numbers. So how to do it? Well, here we can just convert to number, okay, but how to do it for the whole column? You can either select the whole thing and then click convert to numbers, so it's good for all of this. Another way, we have massive data, etc., and you don't want, sometimes it doesn't show this green arrow. You select the whole column, you go to data and click on text to columns, finish, voila. I wanted to show you this problem also. It's when you select the whole column instead of selecting your data only, because this text to columns, what it does, it starts by not letting any empty cells in the beginning, so it shifts up all your data. How can we avoid this? So either we know where it starts, so we know it's A5, we click here, next. Well, there is a bunch of stuff here that's very interesting. I will do a video about it, but here we're just going to go directly to where we need to. So destination A1, no, we want destination A5. We change it, finish, and it works. Another way is to select only the data you want to convert. So we select A5. To select the rest, I will click on Control, Shift and down arrow key, text to column, and finish directly. It works. So this is one thing. Now let's double click or drag to copy the formula. We can see here we messed up some data. Why? Because here we have a matrix, and if you look at sorry, let me do that. Control Z to undo. If we go into this formula, in formulas, when you don't use the $, wherever you shift your formula or you drag your formula, it's called relative referencing. So for example, the lookup value is not anymore this one A6, it's moved down to A10, which is good because usually this is what we want. But the same way, this matrix shifted down, so we need to lock this matrix and keep this free. How we do it? Let's go back to this cell and we press on F4. What F4 does is add a $sign before the column and $sign before the row. In a few moments I will show you $sign how it works, but just understand that when you do this, it locks the columns, and then press enter, double click, it works. Now the matrix doesn't change, but here the row changes, which is great. Now if we want the brand, okay, we click on this handle and drag it to the right. An error. Why? The matrix is locked, as we saw, but we kept this lookup value free, so it moved to the right. We need to lock what? We need to lock Okay, let me delete it to show you again. We need here actually to lock the column. The row should be free because when we drag it down, it should move down with us. But when we drag it to the right, we want the column to stay put. So we add a $sign just before the A, the column name, and we keep the row free. The dollar close to the row, it's the one who locks the row. So when we do that, if we drag it to the right, it will work. Okay, but now we have the same thing because we have another thing that is not really dynamic. Here, as you remembered, for the category we said we want to retrieve the 4th column, but here for the brand we will need the 5th column. So if we change it to 5, now it works. Okay, so let me delete all this and show you some few other problems or tips and tricks. Here, what I want to do is actually I want to look up this article, not the reference. I will just erase everything to make it simple for you. So I want to look up this article and I will do table array. I will select same matrix, put here the F4, well, type on F4 to lock the matrix, and click 4 0 as before. It's an error. Why? As I told you, Excel doesn't care if there is an article there as well or something. He will look up for the looked up value into the far left column. So sometimes you don't have this, or sometimes this is the example I want to show you. Sometimes you don't have this column available, and sometimes you don't have the references, you just have this. You have article versus reference. And I just wanted to show you the principle of nesting formulas. What actually I mean by nesting formulas is Vlookup, the looked up value. Actually Excel is telling you whatever you are looking for. I don't care. It doesn't have to be a number or reference or whatever. For example, I just can type text. To type text, I open quotes and I type fire. I'm looking for fire. Well, there is no fire in this matrix. But for example, if I put fire in here, he will consider that this is fire and will retrieve the camera. What I mean by that, whatever you put in here, it doesn't care. So maybe we can use a formula that returns something else that we can use here. What I mean by that, there is a formula, for example, here when I have an article like this, I'm looking for patterns that can enable me to retrieve what I want. And here, if I look closely, there is always 10 digits for the reference and then a dash and 1 Z. So I can use the left formula, open parentheses, select the article, comma, and press 10. What the left formula does, it starts from the beginning and counts 10 digits and stops. So left of what? Of basics, he will count. Excel will count 10 characters and return the 10 characters. And then when we have the 10 characters, then Vlookup will work because it's a nested formula. Let me show you. Well, normally on your keyboard, you can press F9. For example, you select this sub-formula and press F9. When you press F9, it will show you the result directly. But please don't press on Enter, then press on Escape, because otherwise it will replace the formula with the value. I can do it right here because I have the recording software uses the F9 key as well, and it will stop the recording. So I will show you a different way just to evaluate the formula. So I have to step out, select this and go to Formula tab, Evaluate Formula. What this does, it's actually, when you are debugging formula, this comes very handy to understand where the problem is. So it will transform one by one whatever subformulas or referencing it has. Let me show you. This is the formula and it's underlined, B6 is underlined. So first thing, when we click on evaluate, it will change the B6. So it changed B6 to this one we have in here. The underlined now is the next subformula. Subformula is left this. So what will be returned for this? Like, click on evaluate and you can see it's only took the 10 first characters. So now, as I told you, the Vlookup formula will work because this is a reference and we have here the same thing. We don't have the 1Z on the far left column, we have the same thing. So we close it because we were just evaluating and it's still not working. So why is it still not working? Because this is text and we did that with text, and again we are comparing text to numbers. So I can add another one, but this is just NumberValue formula, which means that whatever, it's a formula that transforms whatever text into a value. So at the end of the day, now it's like having these 10 characters and we are transforming it to a number. Then the VLOOKUP works. Okay, so I think with all of this, I think you should be able now to work with VLOOKUP a lot more easier and debug it whenever you have a problem. Let's show you something else. What I wanted to do is, for example, imagine now that, let's take this out. Imagine now that you only have the reference. This is just an example again, but it can be, it's very useful to learn these tricks. And now imagine that the table we are having, it's only this one. We are not having the reference. Well, you can do it in multiple ways, but I'm just showing this way. I mean, it's good to have it and to know how it works. So let's first lock the matrix, and then what we are looking A6, we are looking in the far left column. It's not an exact match. There is more to it. There is the dash and 1Z. So if we press enter, it will not work. How can we overcome this? Remember when I told you exact match of the lookup value in the table array. But we can play with the lookup value a little bit, where we can add an ampersand. An ampersand is like the concatenate formula, and what it does, I will add an ampersand and add a text which contains the asterisk, and the asterisk is one of the keys. I don't know how we call it, but let me explain you what it does. Now you can see it works, but let me show you here with evaluate formula. At the end, you can see that the VLOOKUP took the 10 characters and add this asterisk. Asterisk means it's not a text, it's a special character for Excel, and it means please look up for this value, and I don't care whatever is on the right. It can be -1Z 978 or whatever. Once you find that, return me the value. So that is what's happening. Well, here, why is it returning the razor instead of category? Because as you saw, the matrix, we have the matrix and we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not the same matrix as before, so now here we need 3. Okay. So we have it correct. You can still drag and drag it to the bottom and the right. We need to lock up the column, so now you know all that. I have another table here to show you. Let me hide this table to make it up. We're hiding. I have another table here where you can see, because sometimes you have big data, and for example, if imagine you have category name for you have multiple cameras, you have hundreds of cameras, and you don't want to have every line put in every reference and then saying that it is a camera. You can put the whole numbers, the whole references that are a camera, and only use one line and have here in this column say camera. And how to use it here is with this trick, but here we would need to add on the far left as well the asterisk and the ampersand to add it together. So here, if you go to evaluates formula, evaluates, okay, you can see at the end is asterisk, the reference number we have in another asterisk. So whatever is on the left and whatever is on the right, I just need this number or this reference to be grouped together. And when I do that, it works. As you can see, oh no, sorry, I haven't changed the table array, it's still the one there. Let me do like this. So here we are looking for the reference, right? Let me do 3. Okay, so we are looking this reference in here, and we need to retrieve the third column, 1, 2, 3. This one, 2610, where is it? It's a mouse. So 2610, as you can see here, 2610, and then we have another mouse, but he found it, so it's good. We can do it with multiple data. Another thing I wanted to show you is now, as you can see, we played with this a little bit. Imagine now we have a lot of values to look up for. We have the category, we have the brand, we have another thing. There's a lot of data we are looking for, and we don't want to specify the third column every time. And sometimes if you change on the looked up array, the table array, change the columns or something, you have to go back to the formula. It's not dynamic. So what we can do is add another function instead of the 3. Remember the nesting formula, the principle of nesting formula. Excel, when he types Vlookup, he doesn't care about what you type here, and as long as you have a cell, a formula, or a text at the end that he needs to look at, to look up, sorry. And here it doesn't care as long as you retrieve him back a range. Same here, he needs a number. It doesn't care how you got this number. So we will use a formula that returns the number. This is the match function. The match function, what it does is it tells you, please look up a value, and we are looking at category, looking for this category in here. Look up a value, we'll add the comma. We need to put a lookup array. We'll put this array here because we are looking only on one row. And just so you know, in order for this to be aligned with the first matrix we are having here on the Vlookup, it needs to be on the same range, the same column. Otherwise, if this match function was like this, for example, the lookup array, the return of it, the return, what this match function will return is, it will start counting from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it will return 4 for the category, whereas for the matrix it's 3. So it needs to be aligned with it, so the column number is a match. So I have to put a comma, and then of course same thing, an exact match, and we have it. There we go. Always remember to lock your table arrays. It's easier, otherwise you will have to look where the problem is. So as you can see here, mouse, evaluate formula to see closely. We can go G5, I don't care about G5, the match function, it returns 3, which is perfect. What this allows you to do is, because when you create your table, sometimes you don't know if you are going to move your columns. Sometimes you will need to move this article back into the last column, and then it will mess up your order. This allows you to change the order of your column as long as the looked up value is always on the left. But the next constraint that you will have is that you don't want to change this, because if you change the header name, whatever, it will return an error. So you have to decide how you want to do it, and keep in mind what might go wrong if you change this or that. There is another way, but I will stop here on this video. Another way that allow you to change even the reference column, like I mean the looked up column, you can change it, but then you will have to use index match. Index match, very powerful as well. It's a combination between the index formula and the match formula. But anyway, I will show you in another video. But of course, if you have the 365 Excel software, you don't need index match. We have the Vlookup function, which is almost close to Vlookup, but it's more powerful, and you don't need this index match thing. Okay, well, thank you very much for following this tutorial, and I hope this is very useful for you. Please drop your comments if you have any other ways to do the stuff I just showed you, or any comments regarding this video. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.